guys, it's Bethany Finch with American Made Home Solutions, and it's Win Wednesday. So you guys have probably heard the rumors about how easy it is to get started in real estate, but then you're flooded and overwhelmed with what exactly that means. Where do we get started, and how does that look for you in your world? So I'm here to actually break that down for you. So if you've got a couple minutes, we'd love for you to join us. So the first thing that many folks don't take into account is all that information. We know that real estate is out there and it's everywhere, but what is the right real estate for us, and how do we get started? So if you've heard tons and tons of information, you're not alone. So has everybody else. But the first thing you need to decide is how much time you have and how much energy you have to spend on the real estate. For instance, many people, when they think of real estate, think of, I'm going to go be a landlord. I'm going to get a single family house and I'm going to put a tenant in it and I'm going to take all care of all the maintenance myself, and that's how I'm going to make money. But then oftentimes they only find themselves making maybe $200 to $300 a month. And then they had to come up with the $20,000 to $30,000 down, and that money gets tied up, and when can they get it back? It's a long, very slow process. If you're like me, I'm not exactly young anymore. I couldn't wait that long. So I had to look for things that were more scalable, that didn't involve as much of my time, nor did I want to be a landlord. So with that being said, I had to stop and ask myself, what do I really want to do? And what I wanted to do was multifamily. The reason was because I already knew multifamily. We've been in the industry 25 years. We had already been working on multiple apartment homes. We'd already had tons of experience. We knew the ins and outs and a lot of the pitfalls. I just needed to learn a little bit more to be able to do it for us on the business side. So that's what we dived in and did. But others may not be, because it feels scary to them. But does it feel scary for you to have a conversation with somebody you know or trust? Well, that part of it's not scary, but sometimes it's scary when we go to put our money where our mouth is, right? So many times people take the money that they have in their investment account and they just leave it to a perfect stranger to invest for them, trusting that that person, or the computer nowadays, is going to invest it the way they want it. Too many times that's not the case though. What they oftentimes find out is that it's just simply a computer that's taking care of all of the investments and moving them back and forth in the different ways. And it's not necessarily thinking about what that specific investor wants. It's just an algorithm that's been plugged in ahead of time so that that brokerage firm can take their fees on top of it. So then every quarter when you look back at your earnings and then you see how much you've paid out in fees, oftentimes you're only gaining like 4% on a whole year. That's not very much. That's barely better than a bank. And so everybody knows that real estate pays on a much higher dividend. But again, how to get started. So that's where American Made Home Solutions can come alongside you. When you've determined that you definitely want to get started in real estate and you definitely want to move forward in multifamily because you see the scalability of it and it makes sense, but you want to come alongside someone who you know, someone that's been experienced and been doing it for a long time, as well as has a track record to stand behind what we're doing. When that's the case, you reach out to companies like American Made Home Solutions and get involved with what we're doing. It's as simple as clicking on the link below and signing up for our monthly newsletter. When you sign up for our newsletter, you actually start getting information as we teach you all about the different things that we're doing. And then you have the opportunity to join our investor portal. When you join our investor portal, it gives you another opportunity to not only learn, but to hear about our offerings. See, many of our offerings, the SEC doesn't allow us to just give out to anybody. We can't advertise them. We can only give them to people that know us, that have a relationship with us. So by clicking on the link below, you sign up for our newsletter. It gives you the opportunity to do just that. The great thing is you're going to get a free download of 16 questions passive investors should ask before investing in a passive income opportunity. And you're definitely going to want that. The number two thing to think about when you want to get started in real estate is maybe you're one of those DIYers and you want to do it all yourself and you want the control and you want the accomplishment of working hard and doing it on the own sweat of your brow. If that's you, then you want to be out looking for deals and you want to be learning the different markets and you want to be finding those good deals. But sometimes you come across a deal that's just too big for you and you know it's a good opportunity, but you don't know how to take that deal down. That's where, again, American Made Home Solutions has come alongside. We have partnerships all across this country in amazing markets that allows us to take down much larger deals than we as our own individual company would be able to do, and you as an individual. When you're hunting for deals, you might only be looking at a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex. Sometimes you're going to come across a 16-plex and you don't know how to run the numbers. Sometimes you come across a 40 unit or even 100 unit. That happens. It always happens when you're actually actively marketing for deals. And so what happens so many times is investors that are wanting to learn and grow and do that, they want to learn from somebody who's already done that. That's exactly how many of ours got started. We were marketing for single family and we started coming across more of our multifamily product and we're like, oh, let's jump in those now. And you just kind of keep moving up and keep moving up. But the difference is we have tools and technology in place now that speed that process up. It doesn't take us near as long as it used to take us. And that allows us to partner in a way that brings real value to that partnership. It also, when you have the experience and track record, you can help save some of the pitfalls. What happens so many times is new investors come along and they think they know everything, but they really only know one thing, and that may be single family. And now they're moving into multifamily. And so they don't know how to bridge that gap between doing due diligence on a single family versus a multifamily. They don't know anything about all the nuances, but about insurance on a multifamily and simple things like fire hydrants, all the things you don't know that on a multifamily you may own and may be responsible for. So these are things that only an experienced operator would know and be able to come alongside in that due diligence process. And it can cost you a whole lot more on a multifamily if you miss something like that than it is on a single family. And so as a DIYer, there's more risk that's involved if you don't know. So I would encourage you to go out and get the education. Join some of the many educational programs out there like Michael Blanc or Think Multifamily. Many of them have some great programs out there to teach you this information. Or there's other groups that you can join, Facebook groups and things that you can join where you can learn and start attending webinars and conferences and things as well as you can learn. Again, all of that for the most part is free or minimal cost to get in. But it's always best to continue to educate yourself by looking to people that are already in the industry. So many times, many of our investors have been in single family for years, but they've always kept in contact with us. And they've always learned and paid attention and got on our webinars and gleaned more information so that when the opportunity was right, they knew and they were able to pull that trigger. And we would like the same thing for you, but we can't do that if you don't reach out to us. Do you know the third thing that we do that helps so much for our passive investors is, aside from giving them a monthly newsletter, we actually open up the opportunity. So when our investors are invested on our properties, we invite them to come join us. We're doing due diligence on this day and this time. If you want to join us, come join us on the property. We'll have property inspections going on this day. If you want to come join us, come join us. It gives you a backdoor tour to a multifamily property and operation. You get to see things like how the property management is run, how the asset management piece works. You get to see the tenant relations and the community piece that we're always working to build out in each of our communities. It also gives you to see an opportunity to see how can we accomplish walking 117 units in one day? How does this work and what does that look like? It gives you so much more knowledge, but it's hands-on learning. So as a passive investor, you actually gain an education while getting a good return on your income that's mitigated by less risk by putting it in a hard asset like real estate. So if you're one of those that you're thinking you're on the fence, I think I'd rather be more active, I would encourage you to go passive and then give the opportunity to go check out some of those opportunities on the active side while you're learning, right? Because then there's no risk involved on that learning, and you continue to learn and grow and get better. And then who knows, down the road, some of our general partners have actually come from folks who've done just that. They started out as an LP, they started a mentorship program, they were learning at the same time that they were investing, and it gave them the opportunity to marry the two together so that when they found a deal that was working and that numbers made sense, they said, hey, Bethany, would you guys be willing to join up with us on this? And at that point, again, the relationship has been established. So we're not just Joe Blow, we're not a complete stranger, and we know how each other works. So those are things that are solid opportunities that would help to not only mitigate your risk, but also give you a stable learning environment. And isn't that all what we're wanting to do? We're wanting to learn how to scale and how to do multifamily and how to do real estate, but do it in a way that mitigates risk, gives us a great return, and allows us to continue to grow. Now, if that's not you and you don't want to be on the passive side, you've already gone through all the training, you have the skill set, you know multifamily, you've been a GP, and you're on the active side. So you're out walking deals and doing due diligence and carrying on. If that's you, then you're going to want to also reach out to us, because so many of our investors are coming along and reaching out and figuring out, okay, we've got deals and we need more teams, or we've got teams and we need more deals. And again, working together, because multifamily real estate is a team effort. We're not doing this all on our own. We're not in all these different markets because we're just amazing people. We're working with teams all across this great country and empowering each of our teams, each of our businesses to grow in a way that's sustainable. And that's what American-Made Home Solutions is about. So we're working together to empower our communities and grow our communities through sustainable growth. And that's the benefit of being with American-Made Home Solutions. You have an impact on a community in a way that is sustainable and growing. And again, who doesn't want to leave an amazing legacy behind of growth and stability, or go to a town that you look around and you see all the properties and things that have gone on and changed and grown because of you and your impact? That's what a lot of people are striving for as well. The fourth way, for many of you that are actively searching and hunting and wanting to be involved in multifamily, for you guys to get involved, you need to be constantly reaching out to new operators, reaching out to new folks in the different markets, whether it's brokers, whether it's lenders, whether it's landlords. There's all kinds of people that you need to constantly be reaching out for. But if you're looking to raise money, that's going to look different as a capital raiser than if you're looking to be the deal finder. See, the deal finder is obviously looking more and running numbers and underwriting and doing due diligence and things of that nature, which means you could be flying to properties or driving to properties or meeting brokers and running numbers and doing a lot of things back and forth with Zoom. On the capital raising side, it could be a lot of the same things with Zoom, but it's because you're talking with investors, potential investors, you're educating, you're teaching, you're meeting with different teams. Capital raisers need to basically be reaching out to good operators, and you need to vet those operators. You need to be able to dive into who they are, because what happens with a multifamily is you're married to those people for like 5 to 7 years. So money gets locked up, relationships, stress comes and goes, and it affects people differently. So you want to make sure that the people that you are teamed up with on either a joint venture or a GP sponsorship side, they're the right fit for you. You see, not everybody is going to be the right fit, just like every deal isn't going to be the right deal. There's some deals that may be a great deal, but it doesn't fit this person's criteria. Or this person may have a great scenario and a great team and a great this, but that particular deal in that particular market doesn't work with their team. So you want to make sure that it's the right fit for the right team and the right deal. And so you want to really divide your efforts into whether or not you're the deal finder or whether or not you want to be raising capital, and focus your time and efforts on that. Now, to do that, that's going to take two different strategies. If you want to be focused on capital raising, well, you need to be getting out there and meeting new people all the time. You need to be raising your hand and going to networking events and showing up sometimes at barbecues, right? Not being a hermit, not staying inside. It could be just joining a bunch of webinars. If you're on the deal finding side, you're going to want to be actually looking through numbers and getting on lists and not just brokers, because obviously the off-market deal is going to be a better deal usually than the on-market deal. And the brokers are only going to bring you those on-market deals. They generally don't have off-market ones. But the off-market ones oftentimes can be far more lucrative, but it can take more one-on-one negotiations. You're dealing with the seller directly. So if that's you, that means you need to be doing marketing. You need to actually be reaching sellers where they're at. You need to be finding lists and you need to be getting that information. So to do that, again, that could take some time. Setting up a system in place so that it's automated and it's doing the work and all you're doing is running the numbers on your deal. So both of those strategies, whether it's raising money for the deal or finding the deal, take a little bit of education. If you've already got that education, by all means, jump in. Don't be afraid to just start somewhere, but pick a lane, right? Don't pick both lanes, pick one or the other. You know what naturally juices you up and gets you excited? Once you get started and you get some momentum going, then you'll start getting some encouragement and all your juices start flowing, and then you'll see. It may take a while. Multifamily is not a fast moving thing. It is a very slow moving process, but at least the process is moving. And once it's moving, it's easier to keep it in motion than it is to restart it. So keep it in motion. Make sure that you reach out to us at American Made Home Solutions, right? So depending on which one that is for you, pick a lane. Deal finder, capital raiser. Deal finder, capital raiser. Which one are you? All right, now you've picked a lane. You have chosen to be a capital raiser. What does that mean? Well, that is a great question. If you've chosen to be a capital raiser, it means those of us that are multifamily operators, we have deals and we need investors. So as a capital raiser, what that means is you're building a system where investors that you know, that trust you, that like you, and you're going to guard their investments, are going to come into your system. So whether that be a single purpose vehicle fund, so you maybe create a fund and all of their investment monies get pooled, and then your fund invests in the deal of, say, American Made Home Solutions deal. Or you instead don't create a fund, but just bring your individual investors into the deal and you're part of the GP team. If you're part of the GP team, though, there's more work involved. It's not passive like it is if you're on the LP side. So as part of the GP team, not only are you going to have investor relations, but you're going to have to also do some of the other responsibilities that the GP team has to take care of. So if that's you, you just got to keep that in mind. But let's back up, right? Maybe you've decided, hey, this fund idea sounds great. Again, you want to get educated first. It may be the best avenue for you, but you don't know that if you don't know it, because we don't know what we don't know. So a single purpose vehicle fund can easily be created. It's a term that the lawyers set up, and you have to follow SEC guidelines. And that basically, those guidelines, all the monies are going to come in, the returns are going to be given to those investors, and then that fund invests into the deal. And when those investors get paid, you would get a portion of that as the fund administrator. If that's not you and you don't want to go through the hassle of setting up a fund and you don't want to deal with any of that, but you would like to come alongside on the GP team, think through what your skill sets are. For instance, nobody is going to let you in their deal for a $50,000 investor that comes along with you. You're going to need to bring some serious change to that deal. You're going to need to actually have some investors that are going to move the needle to help close the gap on that particular deal. So sometimes that could be as little as $1 million, but could be more. If that particular situation is yours, it could be 1031 exchange monies that you're bringing into the deal, and you're part of a TIC, which is how 1031 monies can come in. If it's not, and it instead is just individual investments, you could easily be up to $1 million. But then you also have to be willing to do some of the other work. So some of that other work could be more than just investor relations. It could be marketing for the actual property. It could be rebranding. It could be a certain task on the asset management team. Think through what your skill set is. So if you're going to approach a new operator, let them know, I'm willing to commit to X amount of dollars that I would be bringing to this deal, and I'm willing to do these particular tasks, or I have this skill set. I'm really great with paperwork and attorneys, or I'm really great with lenders and all the back and forth and insurance people. Whatever that skill set is that you have, everybody has a different skill set, and we need all of them to come together. So if you've decided that capital raising is the route you would like to go, then by all means, go that route. But keep in mind, know what lane you're going to go in first. Figure out what you want first, so that it's a lot easier for you to tell and offer somebody else what you have and see the value that you bring to the table. All right, you picked a lane. You picked Deal Finder. So if that's you and you want to be the deal finder, well, first, you need to pick a market. Don't be thinking you're going to look all over the US. It's not going to work. Because to be a deal finder, you need to have consistent deal flow, because you'll constantly be analyzing those deals that come in, to find the one that's actually a deal. So one of my coaches and mentors used to say you used to analyze 50 to put out 25 offers to get one deal. So you need some pretty good deal flow. So that's why you want to pick one market. Now that market could be close to you, could be far away from you. Whatever the purpose is for you picking that market, obviously you want to pick a market that has growth potential. You want to pick a market that is strong rental numbers. You don't want to pick a market that's depleting, right? And dropping, and population is shrinking and everybody's moving away. You don't want to pick those markets. But the first thing you also need to do is, okay, I've picked my market. Say you pick Nashville, Tennessee. You need to start building and establishing relationships in that market. You want to get relationships with brokers. You want to get relationships with insurance people. You want to get relationships with property managers. Sometimes the best deals will come from a property manager. Maybe you make a really good connection with the property manager there, and they have multiple properties, and they find out one of their owners wants to sell their properties, but they don't want to lose their job as property manager. If you let them know that you would highly consider keeping them, they might be apt to bring you that deal and let you know, hey, we're selling. Are you interested? So again, you want to start building those relationships, reaching out to people, connecting. Who are you? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? When you do that, folks will respond. And then you just need to start plugging away, making those connections. And then you also need to start marketing, right? Now, marketing has many forms and fashions. It could be Facebook marketing. It could be actual letters to landlords in the area. It could be marketing to property managers. There's all kinds of things that you could do in the way of marketing to find out and find deals and get deals starting to come in. So you want to have your ducks in a row. You already want to have your teams lined out. You want to know who else is going to be on there. You want to be able to show a proof of funds so that if you can submit an LOI, they're going to take you serious. These are things that nobody wants their time to be wasted. You're going to find a lot of duds. There's a lot of duds, and don't be discouraged by that. You're going to find properties that you're going to get under contract. You're going to submit that LOI, get them under contract, and then they won't make it past due diligence. That's okay. Don't be discouraged. It's just a part of the process. The home run king didn't become the home run king the first time he was out. He became the home run king because every time he got out and he struck out, he questioned, why did I strike out? What was wrong with my stance? What was wrong with my pitch? And he started analyzing everything he was doing. He'd make small corrections each time that built upon each other. He had to make little minor adjustments every single time and not get discouraged along the way. So don't get discouraged if you wanted to be the deal finder. Go for it. Don't get discouraged, but get in the game. Jump out there, pick a market, start making those relationships, and start building. If you're not sure about some of that or what that would look like, we have tons of videos on that in our YouTube channel. Reach out. Click here below, get on our newsletter list, and when you do, you'll be able to hear some of the things that we're doing, some of the markets we're working in. And if you're not even sure, just pick one of the markets we're already in. We've already got teams established there, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's plenty of real estate out there for anybody who's looking, and it's just a matter of doing the work of looking. So don't give up hope, jump in there, get busy, and definitely, by all means, reach out to us. Get on our newsletter, start making those connections with American-Made Home Solutions. When you do, you're gonna start establishing a relationship that allows you to get on the inside track of a whole lot more information than you realized, especially opportunities that you wouldn't have known otherwise.